don't know what crossed my mind, but one day I was like, all right, there's tons of clips of Andrew Tate. Then when it was after he got canceled and they took him off Instagram.
And do you know they froze 15 million pounds as well or something from him? They went after his bank account. He's on a no-fly zone. Like shit where you're like, what are you talking about? Yeah, sorry, continue.
Well, I mean, that's another rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But, so I was thinking about it and I was like, since you can't go to his page and see what he intentionally wants from his page, I was like, maybe I should watch a full interview.
Yeah.
Like, how many times have you watched an actual full interview of him? Because we all see the clips. We all see the little bad ones, the good ones, whatever.
Yeah.
So I went through like a rabbit hole for like a couple hours of just watching his full interviews.
To get more context.
To get more context on things. And it really does change a lot of the clips when you're only getting the bit points, and this because content creators, right? We're trying to pull our best stuff, but when you're hearing the whole conversation, like if you click in and you only pull the me putting Popeyes in a stripper's ass part, you're gonna be like, this guy runs a foundation.
We didn't say you put it in your ass.
Oh no,
that's an
I
extra.
didn't say that. No one said that.
So you can feed him from 2 holes.
No one said that. You're gonna. But if you go into part of the conversation when you're talking about what we do and what we've accomplished, it's 2 different things.
I just got an image now. Turn over. You hungry?
Taylor Ham?
Ew. Did they wipe? No, I'm joking.
Yeah. But no, you watch a full. I'm sure you have, but watch a full Andrew Tate interview and
the best one though, dude. Your Mum's House. Watch his interview on that. So you know Tom Segura?
Yeah.
Him and Christina, his wife, have Your Mum's House podcast.
Yeah.
So they were one of the first people to get him on. It was like January 2020 or 2021 maybe, like before, like it was actually, sorry, 21. It was like 6 months before he started blowing up, and then obviously the end of last year is where he really took off.
Yeah.
The amount of times I'm crying, laughing, like, because he says wild shit.
He does.
Like, wild
and
stuff.
Just to know.
But it's just like, even Tom Segura, he was taking a sip of coffee and Tate said something and he goes, and Christina's like, we've had comedians on, we've had all these people. No one has ever made Tom spit out coffee before.
Yeah, I believe it.
It's the funniest interview.
There's this one thing, every time there's this one clip, and every so often it like pops up on my Explore feed, and it's Andrew Tate listening to himself. He's like watching himself talk about how like, if you're a woman, you should da-da-da-da-da, and if you're a man, you should da-da-da. And it's like ridiculous, the wildest statement, right? That if you only saw that clip, you'd be like, this guy is obviously, a douchebag. And he's watching it, and he looks at the camera, he's like, I'm the funniest man alive. So, and it's those moments when you're like, you guys don't realize like he's trolling.
Yeah. The problem is there's a lot of teenage boys though that take him literal. That's where it gets slippery.
Yeah.
Like you and I are aware to see what a joke it is and what a joke isn't.
Yeah.
There's my favorite clip from him was like a couple of years ago, but it was resurfaced and I saw it recently, and it's him he's just filming on his phone, and he goes, if you have a wife or if you have a girlfriend or a daughter and she wants to go to Ibiza, lock her in the house. Do not let her go. She becomes a prisoner because Tristan has slept with 9 girls in the last week. And then it cuts to Tristan. He's like, yeah, they came to Ibiza to find themselves, and they found themselves in my bedroom.
Yeah,
like,
I know that clip.
Funny.
It's funny.
But some idiots are going to see that and be like, yeah, fuck that bitch. Like,
yeah.
I think that's the tricky thing is, and I think that's part of, this growing pains of the internet is not only kids and teenagers and 20s and whatever it is figuring out how to navigate themselves in the internet. It's parents figuring out how to navigate their kids in the internet.
Yeah.
And that was one conversation I had with my friend who was really angry about me because she has a friend who has a 12-year-old boy, and he's saying like outrageous shit towards girls now as allegedly as a result of that, like some homophobic stuff. And I go to her, I'm like, look, at the same time, what 12-year-old boy isn't homophobic a little bit? Like we all were, But I said to her, I'm like, I don't want to twist it and put it against you, but I'm like, it's also the parents' responsibility rather than going like, he was just such a nice boy, I don't know what's happened. Watch Andrew Tate stuff. educate, like understand who this kid is, who this guy is that your kid idolizes. Understand where it's really coming from, and you probably then can navigate how he perceives what Tate's saying. And then that's more of a proactive thing rather than trying to cut him off, because we all know, tell a kid not to do something, don't see your boyfriend again. Like, fuck you, mom, I love him.
Yeah. I think it's not just that. I think that plays a role, but there is a lack, whether it's young person our age or older. I think, at least I've come more to see it or become aware of it, that there is a huge lack of self-awareness in a lot of people, to not have the understanding to know what's a joke, what's not serious, what's supposed to be taken literate. Ages too. Yeah, it's just it's across the board.
Yeah,
and it's the same thing. It's men and women, 100% men and women, because there's no way you can take some things that people say and really just go, that's for real.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that video of him laughing at himself, I'm like, man, this guy's got us fooled.
And so even Logan Paul figured that out real quick too, is he became bigger and bigger, like a outrageous character in his videos, that he couldn't realize. It took him a year or so until the Japan thing, where he was like, oh, people think this is actually me. Like, you go in a movie and people are like, oh, he's playing a character. But Arnold Schwarzenegger said the quickest way to kill your career is be the bad guy in 2 movies in a row. Because we can't, even though we know it's acting, our croc brain can't differentiate the actor from the role.
Oh, man.
So if you want to be an A-list celebrity, it has to be some ratio of like 3-to-1 good guy to bad guy movies. That's why you never see The Rock play the bad guy. Ever. He's always...
I mean, Black Adam, but,
True. But see how many good guy movies did he do before he became a bad guy?
But
and he's an anti-hero though, isn't he?
He is.
I think so. Loophole.
Loophole.
That's what Terminator 2 was for Arnold. That was the only reason he did Terminator 2. Terminator 1, he was a bad guy. And then they were like, he goes, all right, I'm not going to do the second one because I don't want to be a bad guy again. And he's like, no, you're the Terminator again. You're the good one.
So... why I think that's interesting is because, I mean, look, one of our companies is a PR, is marketing PR, right? So that really, this is PRing yourself. It's complete public relations. So yes, on the celebrity level, that 100% makes sense psychology-wise. But even on our level of people and the area that we're in, there's a ton of people that, if they just realize, or even people that we know, people we've interviewed, people that we talk to, people that we see on social media, you can completely rebrand people's perception of you.
Oh, yeah.
By sticking to something for X amount of time. You want to be the restaurant guy. You want to be this guy. You want to be the nice guy. Like, you want to be the good guy. I remember when we were coming up, I hate the social media kind of thing. Like, I hate posting all the time. At one time, it was like that was like the job, right? People need to see that I'm out eating and I'm out doing stuff. And thankfully now I don't have to do that as much because we're more established. But in the very beginning, I used to do things like I used to take photos with every chef that I'd come in encounter with, or every restaurant owner, or this and that, and you'd post those things. And even whether it was true or not, people would immediately assume you're that person because these people, but you're really just tailoring this PR campaign on yourself.
Yeah.
So if you want to be the good guy, you go out and do a bunch of nonprofit things. You want to be the restaurant guy, do that. You want to be the guy that, knows all the entrepreneurs. You'd rather be the teacher than the student. So I think it applies on all levels, and that's that lack of self-awareness. Some people don't get it. And the ones that do get it make money off of it.
Yeah.